For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Hello and welcome to StratNewsGlobal, and welcome to our special three-part series on Pakistan, State of the Republic. I'm Surya Gangadharan, and I'd like to welcome our guest from Islamabad, Professor Pervez Hoodbhoy, a well-known academic of Quaid-e-Azam University in Islamabad. He is a prolific author, and he's also a well-known political commentator. So welcome, glad to have you.
Very much for having me.
Let me get on to our very first question. How do you define the state of politics in Pakistan today?
I'd say it's pretty stable. I don't see this government as being in any kind of danger. This is a government that was brought in by the Pakistan army and Imran Khan and his party. They share the same set of values, same set of goals. And of course, if the army had not actively assisted him in the elections 3 years ago, well, he wouldn't be here in the Prime Minister's house in Islamabad. Now, having said that, I'll say that they perhaps haven't done things too badly. I mean, yes, COVID came along and that was a challenge for all countries, but they didn't handle it very badly. The economy hasn't collapsed. It's true that he has broken promise after promise, which means earlier on he said he would never ever go to the IMF, but of course I think we've gone to the IMF now for the 34th time, and we're getting loans from commercial banks, which means that lots of loans will have to be paid off in the future. Now, as far as stability goes, I don't see a problem. However, I do see a problem when it comes to the common man, because there is a huge increase in fuel prices, gas prices, and the prices of ordinary commodities, and that makes the ordinary man very, very unhappy. So speak to the taxi driver here or the domestic worker or whoever, and lots of them are very unhappy. I'll also say that Imran Khan's party has, of course, being the incumbent government, they always have an advantage. They have, therefore, whether those elections that were recently held in Kashmir were free and fair or not is, of course, disputed. But the fact is that politically, they don't seem to be endangered. And the support in Punjab, which earlier belonged to Nawaz Sharif, is being eroded by Imran Khan's party.
So, what about political parties? Are the right-wing parties on the ascendant?
Actually, I would say that there is a right-wing party in power in Pakistan presently. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, Imran Khan's party, is no less right-wing than the Jamaat-e-Islami. In fact, I'd go a step further and say that they've done what the Jamaat-e-Islami always wanted to do but could not do. And it's not just me expressing an opinion. The fact is that the Jamaat-e-Islami and the PTI were allies in the NWFP, or the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province as it's now called. They share completely the same goals, and you can see this particularly as it applies to education. So in recent months, there's been, and the government has put forward a single new curriculum for the whole of Pakistan, and that essentially redefines education in Pakistan everywhere in essentially the same way as the Jamaat-e-Islami would have wanted to do it, and maybe gone a step further. The amount of religion that's been inserted into the curriculum is simply staggering.
And this would affect even the private institutions?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In fact, private institutions, private schools which do not teach from the same curriculum will be fined rupees 2 lakhs per month.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's pretty draconian.
So, what about the mainstream parties like the PPP, PMLN? These are kind of secular, I presume, in the Pakistani definition, or more
In the
secular, perhaps.
context in the context of Pakistan, yes, I would say the People's Party, Bhutto's party, of course, Bilawal Bhutto's party, is is a secular party. However, it has been confined to the Sindh province alone. Once upon a time, that is to say, under Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and then his daughter Benazir Bhutto, it had presence in all the provinces in Pakistan, but that is no longer true anymore. Now it is essentially a regional party. As far as the Pakistan Muslim League goes, there's, of course, two factions, but the Nawaz faction was the one that was by far the bigger one. Nawaz Sharif went, as you know, he's been exiled or is in self-exile, whichever you want, and he took the decision of actually challenging the establishment. Now, this is the first time that a major Punjabi politician actually took on the Pakistan army and said that these are people who should not be allowed to run the country. They're getting free grants of land. They are into business. They should be doing what they're supposed to, which is defend the borders. And he ran into trouble very soon. His party has been, in fact, weakened. It's been systematically subverted, but also his daughter, Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Nawaz, she is essentially running the party now because Nawaz Sharif's brother, Shahbaz Sharif, turns out to be not terribly charismatic. He would not have liked, in fact, he did not like Nawaz Sharif coming out so openly against the establishment. He was, in fact, trying to build bridges, but I think now that's behind us. The army is in no mood for compromise with the Pakistan Muslim League.
So, you would say Nawaz Sharif's innings are over, and the real thing now rests on his daughter. Is she up to it?
I think that's pretty much true because, first of all, he's not in very good health. I don't see him being able to come back very soon. And his daughter now has captured the limelight. She is the one who's making all the statements for her father. She is also very political. And so, yes, I'd say that the future of the Pakistan Muslim League, Nawaz, now rests with Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Nawaz.
So, in light of what you just told me about, the PTI, the mainstream parties, the state of politics, how would you describe democracy in Pakistan today? Is it stronger than before? Are there gaps and deficiencies? How would you rate it?
It's never been a very democratic system, but I'd say that today it's weaker than before. There is almost no legislation that's being agreed to by the parliament. Mostly it is ordinances. The judiciary has been, the independence of the judiciary has been repeatedly attacked. The case of Qazi Faiz Isa is a very prominent one. This is an honest judge. He had challenged the establishment on multiple counts, but the most important one was that of the elections 3 years ago, when the establishment had rallied religious forces under Khadim Hussain Rizvi, and they had occupied a place just about 10 miles from here, called Faizabad, and they had caused such a ruckus over there for so long that it caused essentially Nawaz Sharif's government to retreat. Now, the police wouldn't act against them, and for good reason, because they had been instructed not to do so by the powers up above. When finally they dispersed, we found that the Director General of the Rangers was actually distributing cash to those who had occupied Faizabad for so many days. And so this made it pretty clear that this was nothing spontaneous. Qazi Faiz Isa brought this fact out, and since then he's been in great trouble. He's been accused, or rather his wife has been accused of hiding properties overseas and whatever. Well, it turns out that now he's been exonerated of that, but they're putting more difficulties not just to him but to other judges as well who challenge the establishment. So in reply to your question, I don't think democracy is terribly strong in Pakistan presently.
Now, there's a new buzzword, I'm told, in Pakistan, geoeconomics. Some of your top army commanders have talked about it, including, I think, General Bajwa. So, what is it that we're looking at here?
I don't really understand, but I guess geoeconomics, as they are putting it, is that Pakistan must integrate itself more with the global economy via China. So the hope is that China will invest sufficiently, create industries over here in Pakistan. Somehow our exports will be boosted. We'll become a part of the global economy in that sense. But it's so far as I can see, it's just a buzzword because things are going on pretty much as before. So as before means that value-added exports are very few. Textiles is the main export of Pakistan, and although there's much being made out of the export of software, that amount is only $2 billion a year, which is not very much. I think other countries in the region have way more than that. So the bulk of foreign exchange that comes into Pakistan is through the remittances of workers who live in Saudi Arabia, in the Middle East, in Europe and the United States. And I don't see anything changing on that. So call it geoeconomics or whatever. But until the education system here is fundamentally revamped and made consistent with the demands of modern science and technology, I don't see this as being anything other than buzzwords.
So this geoeconomics is basically flows from China's influence in that country. Is that where this is coming from?
Well, China is, as you know, a major investor in Pakistan through CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is a part of the Belt Road Initiative, which would extend China's influence in many different directions, particularly towards Africa. And certainly with Gwadar as being one of the hubs of Chinese economic expansion, Pakistan hopes to get some part of the benefits. Now, with Gwadar being a commerce hub, which was imagined to be like a new Dubai. So a new Dubai would have over there banks, the offices of multinational corporations, tourism, etc., etc. And so that would be part of the way of that would be partly how Pakistan would integrate itself into the new geo-economic structure. However, as I'd be repeating myself to say that there's not much that seems to be happening. We do see Chinese investment in infrastructure. So there are roads and there are power stations. And just now, nuclear power plant in Karachi has come online with 1100 megawatts. But one does not see Chinese manufacturing here on any significant scale. So one doesn't see factories, although they say some are planned, which China would essentially set up with the help of Pakistani labor. In fact, what's happened is a little sad, I'd say, because in the infrastructure projects, road building, power plants, whether that's coal or nuclear, much of the labor has been provided by China itself, and not too much employment for Pakistanis there. So I don't see where integration into the world economy is coming from. I don't see it happening.
I wanted to bring in Afghanistan a little earlier, just slipped my mind. What is the current status on the Afghan situation? What's the uh, debate, the narrative about?
You've read the news. Now the cities of Afghanistan are under threat. Lashkargah, in particular, the Taliban are at the doorstep over there, literally. And Pakistan has said that it will not allow Afghan refugees into the country, that it will instead demand that they be placed in a safe area within Afghanistan. I don't see how they could be safe over there, because if they are not protected by Pakistan, I mean the Afghan refugees, then they would be endangered there as from where they fled from. Because if the Taliban continue to spread as they do, we're going to have slaughter just like we had in 1996, which was absolutely, which was when the Americans had walked out earlier and left the Afghans to their own devices. You had earlier on the Afghans, the Taliban, Mujahideen rather, they were bombarding Kabul with rockets, and Gulbuddin Hikmatyar, who was the Prime Minister at that time, was in fact ordering the rockets to be launched on Kabul. So it's a very dismal situation. I think that the primary responsibility lies on the Americans. They shouldn't have been there in the first place, but since they were there, they shouldn't have rushed out in such indecent haste. Now that they have rushed out, run away literally, I think that there's a dreadful situation coming up.
So, last question. I want to bring in India here. Um, India is still the public enemy number one, um, the fount of all of Pakistan's problems.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to get over that anytime soon, sadly, yes. And I think what happened in Afghanistan is also because of that fear, the fear that Afghanistan would be just another means of then attacking Pakistan, and so that's why there was the hope that there would be strategic depth provided to Pakistan by the Taliban. Whether that actually happens or not, one doesn't know, but certainly that was what impelled policy there. I would like thinking in both our countries to change, and for us to live together as good neighbors, to live together in peace. After all, we have so much in common. But yeah, we will have to work hard at changing the minds of our respective establishments.
On that note, sir, thank you for this insight and perspective into Pakistan. Um, I deliberately wanted to avoid bringing India into it, because then you know how it becomes. It becomes very tutu meme. So in that sense, you've given us a good picture of the internal situation in Pakistan, and in that sense, enlightened our viewers about that everything in Pakistan is not India-Pakistan. There are a lot of things that are happening there that are intrinsic to that country. Pleasure talking to you, sir, and we hope we can keep up this dialogue at some other future point in time.
I look forward to that.
And
Thank
for
you.
all of you out there, keep tracking us as we bring you more in this series. This was the first in our series. We have 2 more ahead. And keep following us on our website, on Instagram, on other social media. And do subscribe to our channel. Thank you and goodbye.